Hello, hello, hello. I got a green putty matching 100%. This is awesome. I absolutely love it using the last daylight. And in a couple of days, I'm gonna make a video for Sandy, a whisper video, an ASMR video with my new rock that I found yesterday at the beach. A heart-shaped rock, real big. Awesome. So, but I have to wear matching clothes for that. So, something amazing happened in South Carolina. It was on Google News today. A little 3-year-old boy was playing outside at his great grandmother's house with his two friends or siblings or cousins, I don't know. And what happened is the grandmother called the kids in, and the boy was no longer there. The boy was missing. So apparently the boy must have wandered out into the forest. And maybe he saw an animal, maybe he saw that bear, and he followed the bear. I don't know what happened. So nobody really knows. But so then they called the sheriff. They were looking for him. They couldn't find him for days. They were looking for him. And the weather conditions were very harsh because right now we have, because of global warming, ice caps melting causes an incredible turmoil in the weather conditions around the whole world. And it causes ice areas and heat areas and other areas. It causes storms. It causes all kinds of different weather conditions that are very unusual, and they just keep getting worse. And right now we have this, what they call the polar vortex. It's an ice stream from the North Pole that is coming into the United States and affecting like 70% of the United States, particularly the inland regions all the way to New York, and particularly Minneapolis and those the northeast regions, so the northern regions like Montana and also Illinois and Michigan, they're affected by this very drastically. And I want people to bring their animals into the house and to make sure that they have enough hay and straw for the outdoor animals so that they can crawl into a barn and so that they can heat themselves up with their body heat in within a shield of hay and straw. It's very important that people do this. I was just in different chat rooms. I went to all the different chat rooms that are live right now on YouTube, and I have been telling people about this climate catastrophe and that they need to bring their animals in. And so I was in there. I wasn't in there that long. I just reported these things, and several of the chat rooms blocked me just for reporting these things to people, to warn them and to bring their animals to safety. For that good deed, they blocked me. Okay, that's the world we live in. Just want to put this into perspective out there. So anyway, little boy was missing for several days in this ice cold weather, ice storms, and they even had to bring these rescue groups back because the weather conditions were too bad and they almost felt like they weren't going to find that little boy. But then eventually someone, a hiker I guess, must have seen a little boy or heard a little boy cry for his mother, and they called the sheriff and they showed them where they heard those cries. They went in there and there was the little boy. He was trapped in some brushes with his clothes, probably some sticky, spiky branches, and he wasn't able to get himself free. And he was all soaking wet and cold and shivering and pale, and they gave him water, they bundled him up, they brought him to safety, and they asked him, they were so amazed to find him alive at all. And they asked him how he survived. And he told them that a large bear saved his life. He told them that large bear, he hung out with a bear for 2 days, a wild bear. And that is so infinitely touching to me. A wild bear came he saw that, or mother bear maybe, saw that baby there, and recognized this being as a baby, like a bear cub. And so the bear felt sorry for that baby, and the bear knew that the baby was, to the mercy of the elements, and the bear must have, the bear hug, that's where that word comes from. We give each other a bear hug. So the bear must have held that boy like this for 2 days to protect the boy from freezing to death. So it's absolutely amazing. It is infinitely touching, and just wanted to make a video about this, tell people about this, because those kind of news, they often go unseen through the internet. Someone writes about it briefly, and then also the way it was written by a religious person, and then the mother was obviously grateful to, or the grandmother was grateful that the boy was safe, and then she said that her God sent that bear to rescue him. It sounds to me, it sounds like, and I hear this, I've heard people say the exact same thing before, when wild animals or domestic animals, that domestic or wild animals rescued a baby or a human, adult human, whether they knew that person or not. Some of them didn't know the person, and some of them were wild animals. I heard several of those stories. It's amazing that it just shows us that animals feel the same things. They feel compassion, they see someone in need, and they go and help. And so it's not just instinct, right? I mean, it's not just a survival instinct. So their survival didn't depend on that. So it's not their species either. So obviously love doesn't know any borders or species or family groups or whatever. Love doesn't fit into any template. Okay, love is an emotion that is very, very pure, that comes from the infinite cosmos. Okay, so all of us sentient animals feel that, can feel that, have the potential to feel that when we're tuned into it, when we're tapped into it. Very important. So, but people, they don't understand it. They get anti-information from their religion and from the corporate agenda, of course. The corporate agenda, they want to exploit animals and the environment, so they will keep people uninformed and anti-informed about the biology of animals, that they're exactly like us, but the corporate agenda, using religion as a tool, they will keep people in this mindset of thinking that they're somehow above the other species, that they're smarter or something, and more deserving. How is that possible? So But the mother bear feels exactly the same feelings as a human mother. So the same love, the same need to help that innocent living being, yeah, which is love. So and it's a very pure emotion, and they don't want to acknowledge that the bear feels that too. So they want to attribute their Christian God into it. They want to project their Christian God into this, as if the Christian God somehow puppeteers the bear to help that little boy. But it's not the Christian God that puppeteered anything. The bear felt compassion. Okay, it's a biological mechanism. The bear feels the same feelings that we feel, that we humans feel. They feel the same feelings that the animal rights activists feel, which is love. So this is very important for me to say this and to put this out there so people understand. This is very, 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 very important. Very important. Step out of your religious enclaves and look at the world from a completely unbiased and fresh viewpoint. And then you see it. Then you will see it. You will see that the other animals are equal to us in everything, okay? In sentience, in love ability, in compassion, okay? Everything, fear and worries and thinking about how to survive the winter, all of this, the same things, okay? So people need to know this. This is very important. Very important. And then those people, they didn't even want to believe the boy. Some of them thought that he was just making that up. That boy wouldn't have survived these temperatures if the bear had not held him in her arms for 2 days. That's deeply, deeply touching. The vast majority of humans do not want to acknowledge that the other species have the same sentience as we have, the same ability for compassion and love. Yeah. That's why I make these videos, to bring this information to the public. And that's why I go into chat rooms, to bring that information to the public. Those are my only means that I have. Because I'm not on board with the corporate agenda, because compassion is not on board with the corporate agenda, that's why I will probably never have anyone facilitating my message. Yeah. My message. It's not about me. It's the message of love. Yeah. The message of compassion and love is so deeply suppressed and repressed and held back by journalism in general, you know, because they are on the take from the corporate agenda. Journalists, institutions, and companies that are on the take from the corporate agenda, that think about dollar signs. Okay. They think about making more money. They don't think about what their message and their commercial message will do to the world, what kind of damage it does. They don't think about this. They only think in terms of making more money every day. More money, more money, more money. We can also make money as a positive side product from being good too. That works too. And then we will all benefit from it. But that's not how most people think. Most people think in terms of dualism. They think in terms of me versus them, me versus the other person. They think in terms of he will get it, so I better get it first. And then I will keep it all for myself, locked up. That's not how the world works. That's not how compassion works. That's not how we survive. The reason why the Nordic people survived at all in evolution was cold temperatures in the Nordic and Arctic and also Antarctic circles. The only way they survive is if they cooperate with each other. If they think in terms, if they see the other as being part of them. That's how they survive. So that's why they have a lot of compassion. Okay. In those regions where that was not needed by evolution, the people are very dualistic. They think either him or me, but they can't imagine that there is a way where we can see each other as a one unit. So they have a very hard time with this because they didn't evolve in that direction. Their brains don't work in that way. So they think in terms of hoarding everything for themselves and not sharing it with someone else. This is just a rough explanation. There are, there are people, of course, in Mexico who are very family oriented, and they help each other very much, and that's very touching. But I don't know if they help other people. I don't know if they are so eager in helping, let's say, a European who was there trapped and in need of it. I don't know. Maybe some are, but I heard that they very much keep to themselves and they don't like people that are different. And maybe that's also part of evolution. It's a self-defense mechanism. They don't trust anyone, so not really holding it against anyone. I'm just saying these are the different ways of how people have evolved throughout hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years and millions of years. But we need to look at the facts about this. This is very important. Very, very important. So, and I don't know if it's possible to teach non-dualism to the public. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know how do people perceive non-dualism. How does anyone out there perceive when I talk about non-dualism? Most people probably don't even know what that means, right? They never heard it. But those people who have heard it, are they able to really understand what that means? Do they understand it intellectually? Do they understand it in terms of some sort of Buddhist fad? Or do they understand it for what it really is? That it is encompassing the other beings into my life. That we're all part of the whole, that we belong together, that you have my best interest, that I have your best interest in mind, that we have each other's best interest in mind, that your health and happiness is my wish, okay? That I am functioning and thinking and breathing and living, wanting you to be happy, you, all of you out there, all living beings. Can that be understood from the heart, visceral, amygdala, kindness, corpus callosum, from the level of feeling it in your blood? Can that be understood from that perspective? Or is this only a concept? It's just another concept. It's just another teaching. Then it's not understood. The bear understands it. The bear doesn't have to read any, Bhagavad Gita or the Dhammapada or the Eight Noble Path. The, the bear already feels it in her blood or his blood. The bear isn't going to talk to us about philosophy. And if the bear could talk, what would he say? He would say, I love that boy because he's innocent, so I helped him. That nothing more needs to be said about it, I don't know if I can convey this message to the public. So when I go into a chat room of 4,500 people, I don't know how many people are actually following the tweets, that some people may just have it on and listen to the music. So, but from the people that were there talking to each other, I mean, it seemed like 0.1% of people that actually saw my comments and commented back and felt like that was something maybe to think about, that global warming is causing these weather catastrophes, and that it is important and vital that we bring our animals into the house. The other people didn't even pay attention. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't vibrate on the same frequency that they are vibrating on. They're vibrating on, hey, where do you live? How old are you? That seems to be the only thing that is on their minds. It's like mating dances. But it's those people that will put themselves above other species. It's those people, the only difference is that they have their religions that keep them uninformed, that have nothing to do with love and the infinite cosmos, that are the farthest removed from that, from being in tune. And it's that what makes them think that they are somehow better or something. A monk or a priest, they usually are homosexuals. That's why they will flee into those kind of leverage positions, so that then they can, it has been like this for thousands of years. So now with pollution and overpopulation, more and more and more people are becoming homosexual because the mothers are having stress during pregnancy, and the child will be born with anything that can go wrong or that can stagnate during the fetal development. And when the stress happens during the 3rd month of fetal development, that's when the gender isn't fully formed, when it's somewhere in between. And they don't know any of this. They feel deep shame, that they feel that way, for that a man will feel that way for another man, and he suppresses that and represses that, and then he goes, oh, I better become a monk or a minister or a priest or the Pope, so that way I don't have to deal with this. That way it will never surface. That way I can meditate that away. The problem is it doesn't let itself meditate away. It doesn't. Okay. It's a physiological, psychological, biological need. Okay. It's very powerful. The sex urges are very, very powerful, whether the person is straight or gay, And if they go into celibacy and they go into a religious position like this, where they thought they could somehow drown it away, it will come back with a vengeance. And then it will show itself in the way they handle little children, because the little children, they think the little children can't defend themselves, and that's how pedophilia was born. Okay, and because of religion. Okay, I just wanted to put these things out there for people so that they actually get a closer look into these kind of things. Religion causes, it's a vehicle for the ego to repress entire character traits and affinities and sexual orientation and needs and wants and so on. But it doesn't let itself be repressed. That's the thing. It will keep coming back as a vengeance. It will come back and it will loop itself through. If this is closed off here, it will find its loophole and it will come through here. And if that is closed, it will come through here. And if it's all closed, it will explode. And that happens with a lot of violence in the world. When everything has been closed up and sealed and repressed eventually, because that thing, whatever is there that wants to be heard, whether it is a sexual need or whether it is the inner child wanting mama to acknowledge him or her, or just a hurt little child that wants to be seen, if this is constantly repressed, the end result is it will explode. It will literally explode. And we've seen this now so many times. And the Muslim religion is the epitome of this. So we see it and we need to acknowledge this. This is what's happening. This is a problem. Okay? And if we don't recognize that this is a problem, because we're too afraid of public rejection, we're not going to be invited to the party, then things will escalate and it's going to get a whole lot worse. I don't know if any of you is concerned about this, about these kind of things getting a whole lot worse. All of this stuff is going through my head all the time, like non-stop, all the time. It's not easy. It's not easy for me to try to bring this across to the public. Whatever I say it's not interesting. It doesn't vibrate on the same frequency. And it's also marginalized. It's also repressed and pushed out of the public deliberately. These kind of things, these kind of people, these kind of messages are repressed, pushed back into the background. The more people will repress the truth, the more the truth will come up and surface and will probably come up forcefully eventually, like, the clay pushing up through the gaps or exploding out if everything is sealed. That's a ticking time bomb. It's a pressure cooker situation. If you repress things, they will eventually come up in a much more uncomfortable situation. So that's why it's absolutely vital to address these things right away, not to wait until it boils up and causes a real terrible situation. That wonderful, wonderful bear saved that little boy from freezing to death. And the people, they cannot even acknowledge that. They'll have to attribute their Christian God into it. That's very sad. That's not the way to heal things on this planet. That's deeply touching what happened there in South Carolina. Deeply touching. I hope that bear is safe. I hope they didn't go out there looking for that bear, because they're hunters. There are people that would even shoot the bear, even after the bear saved that little boy. I want all of you out there, teenagers, kids, I don't care how old or young you are. I want all of you to understand the message of love and put that message of love above religion, above your friend circle, above your family. Okay. If you have a good family who understands that message, that's wonderful, but most people don't. Most people don't have that family. They don't have a family like the Irwin family in Australia. So most people have families that are very religious and dogmatic and very, very self-important, self-image driven, and so on. Don't struggle with them. Don't try to convert them. Don't try to convince them. Don't argue with them. It's not safe for you to argue with them. Some people they go berserk when you argue with them. So for your own safety, protect yourself, but listen to those people, and those very few people in the world that you come across who teach love, because that's the most important thing. Listen to those. Listen to Jiddu Krishnamurti, and Teal Swan, and Eckhart Tolle, and Ingrid Newkirk, and Paul Watson, and Peter Hammarstedt, and Simone Reyes, and Pamela Anderson, Paul McCartney, Stella McCartney, Vivienne Westwood, just to name a handful of people here. They exist, these good people with the love message, they exist in the world. All of you teenagers out there, listen to those people. Love doesn't need religion, or a football team, or a school. Love is compassion. Love is giving a thirsty dog water to drink in the desert, in the Middle East, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, and all of the other countries there, and India, and Africa. Give an animal water to drink. Give an animal food. Give love, petting, touch, holding in the arms. That's compassion. Whoever sees my video and comes across this message, hold on to that message like it's a jewel. Don't let anyone bully you. If someone is violent verbally or physically, protect yourself from that person. Walk away. Doesn't matter who that is. It could be your minister or your parent or brother and sister, family. Walk away. Walk away and find someone who treats you better, and keep on finding people who treat you better, and keep on looking for the kind people, and you will find more and more kind people. If you deeply wish for this, the law of attraction will bring them to you, even though we are in the minority, absolute minority. We're in the 10% range, and I'm not even talking about the people who go way out of their way. Talking about just the people who are decent and kind. That's about 10%. They still have a lot of selfishness, a lot of them, but at least they're not going to hurt anyone. They might not all sign a petition, but they're not going to hurt anyone. And then the people who sign petitions and who will rescue a dog from a busy street, those are about 1%. But whoever comes across this video, this is very important that we look at the issues. And if you are a kind person, have the guts to protect yourself, to walk away from those who hurt you, and believe that your wishes will come true to find like-minded people. And anyone out there who comes across this video and who doesn't like it, you don't have to watch it. But if your inner voice says to you, maybe I'll watch it anyway, then that will be a beginning. That would be a beginning of a healing process. Because even if you do something else while you listen to my videos, you do a different activity or something, you don't have to sit there like this, listen. So then it maybe will seep in little by little. The message. I'm just a messenger. It was my own personal ways of bringing this message across. Okay, so there are many other people who, they're still in a small minority, of course, who bring out this message. Each person does it in their own way. What matters is the message, not the person, not the messenger. The bear is also a messenger of love. I see you, bear. There are people who see you, who see your kindness. I love you, beautiful being. Beautiful light being of love and compassion. I see you. And I have infinite gratitude towards you. Healing can happen in the world. And the more people help with this, the more people that make the decision at a fork road to watch a peaceful video, a video with a love message, versus playing a violent video game. They make that decision, even if it doesn't come so naturally. If they say, okay, just this time I'm going to listen to the peaceful video instead of playing the violent video game. If we can practice this with willpower, and then eventually we can turn this around. We can make the world a better place. You guys take care.